YouTube. This is my first tutorial video and I'm going to be doing a must-die style bass. My name's Reese Bainton. I go under the alias of Rez. Been making dubstep for about 5 years now, and I've just started to do some tutorials and I'll be doing a lot more for you. So first off, we're just going to open Ableton, which I've got one loaded up, and I've got my little drop which I've made just for this tutorial. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it in a proper track yet. I probably will, because I'm quite liking the sound of it. But yeah, I'll show you what it sounds like now. So yeah, there we go, we've got a simple drop. And I'll be doing tutorials on the other basses if I get likes and people are like what I'm doing. So yeah, the bass we're going to be focusing on is the must-die style, like high screechy. Well, it's not more of a screech, it's more like a high waspy type bass. And it's this one right now. If I solo it, yeah. So this is the one we're going to be doing today, and I'll do tutorials on the other ones, such as that one, if people enjoy it. So right, let's get on into it. It's quite a big patch, but it's fairly simple stuff going on. It just all makes it beefing up really, and the massive patch is fairly simple, which I will jump into now. Right, so just initialize your patch. I'm not going to do it for this sake, because I'm going to give the preset in the download, so people can just have it, or they can recreate it, they can tweak it, or whatever you want to do with it. But it consists of one oscillator, which is a kangaroo oscillator with the wavetable all the way up, intensity all the way up, and the amp all the way up. Drop down 2 octaves, so minus 24, and some phase modulation on it, which I put a macro, which is macro 2. Map that just to go up a little bit from the bottom, just below the P really. I've also mapped the number 2 macro into the sidechain amp modulation. And if you fairly know, if you've been using Massive quite a while, you've got to change the volume on envelope 4, and also on envelope 1 we will come back to that because I've done a few bits, but it's just really like make that little pitch droppy style bit at the start of it, which you can copy all the settings. And I've put it on oscillator 1 up 64, and I've put it on the phase on the modulation oscillator up 64 as well, with the curve of that, which people can copy. There's no unison, it's just on 1 monophone. And legato oscillator, restart via gate, as always when you do with basses, because you don't want it messing up really. So that's pretty much it for the massive patch. So we'll dive on into what I've done. This is where the main bit of the sound comes out, because if I take away the EQs and all my processing, it sounds like this. Oh, sorry, this. What was it? This one. So it's fairly basic. So what I have done first off is I've put an EQ in, and I've mapped the different points and different frequencies so it moves all together like a different type of automation curve, like an LFO sort of thing. That's where I've drawn in that, so that moves for that. Well, that automation is for the macro, and the macro automates macro 2 inside massive, and all them parameters as well as the EQs, curves and everything. And simply to map them, all you have to do is click map, click which point you want to do. Usually it's the frequency. I do to the frequency, and then I set my points up in this top box here, and I map it. So you just click it, map to the knob. So you can map multiple parameters to the same knob, and then I've put in a few different details in here from where to start the frequency and end it. So with that EQ on, it sounds a bit better, sounds a bit more high and waspy. Because we've taken a lot of the low, as you can see it jumped, removes the low end of the bass. And I've added also another little EQ after, just to remove some of the mid and add some highs. Gives it a bit more clarity in the mix. And I've put an OTT model band compressor to beefing it up. It gives it a bit more grit, a bit more distortion. I've added a limiter to gain it up a bit, add a bit more volume so it doesn't peak as well. Then we added the Camel Crusher for some distortion, which beefens it up again. And then finally, well not finally, another EQ just to get rid of that low end area for sub bass. Just to make sure there's no lows that are in there that are going to confide with my sub when I put the sub in. And finally, I've put a bit of reverb on it just to give it a bit more space. And that is pretty much the bass. If there's any questions or anything, just leave some comments at the bottom, and I'm more than happy to help. So altogether, just to show you, this is what it sounds like. Right, thank you for watching my tutorial. I hope this has been a little bit helpful. If there's any questions, just drop a comment below. Make sure you subscribe and like the video and share it to your producer friends, and follow me on SoundCloud and Facebook. Thanks, I'll be doing a lot more tutorials. If there's any specific basses you want me to do, just pop it in the comments box and we'll get it done. Thank you.